Good morning, Form 2 students, and welcome to Lesson 4. Today's lesson will be on dating. Yes, you heard me correctly, dating. So we will begin this lesson with you answering these questions. What is dating? Should you be dating? When should you start dating? If your answer was no, that you should not be dating now, then the next question you would have to ask yourself is, when should you start dating? Now you're going to follow as the lesson is read, as I read from the textbook.
Chapter 7, God's Gift of Sexuality, Learning to Love Together. Now this chapter will help me to see that dating is remote preparation for marriage and family life, to explore guidelines for responsible dating behavior, and understand the real meaning of Christian love. The dating game. By the way, Mom, Sean announced from the backseat of the car on the way to soccer practice, I'm going steady with Megan. Sean's mother almost slammed on the brakes. You're what? She yelled. You're only in 8th grade. You can't even drive yet. How can you go on a date with somebody, let alone go steady? Sean just rolled his eyes and let his little brother explain. They don't date, Mom, Tim said. Going steady just means they do their homework together on the telephone. You may have had a similar conversation with family members. The whole idea of dating, going steady, and boy-girl relationships in general has changed so much and so quickly over the years that different generations may seem to be speaking different languages. When Sean's mom was an 8th grader, going steady meant being engaged to be engaged, almost serious enough to be thinking about marriage. Even dating outside of a group was something older kids did. A courtship ritual. Not so long ago, dating, which you might define as spending time with someone of the opposite sex for the fun of it, hardly even existed. Marriages were arranged between parents. A couple might not even meet before their wedding day. People married for economic reasons or to raise a family. If they happened to also grow to love one another, that was considered a bonus. In many parts of the world, such arranged marriages are still the custom. But gradually, people in our culture began to marry for love. Dating grew out of the need to find suitable marriage partners, but it was governed by strict rules. A man and woman did not spend time alone in one another's company unless they were seriously considering marriage. In our time, dating has been almost completely separated from the process of courtship and marriage. There are very few formal rules. There are both benefits and drawbacks to this separation. Building relationships. One big difference, and it's a good one, between your time and that of your parents or grandparents is that it's much easier these days for boys and girls to be friends with each other. When you develop strong relationships with members of the opposite sex, you learn to respect one another's strengths and weaknesses. You learn to honor the wonderful complementarity that God intended to exist between women and men. So-called group dating, spending time with a mixed group of friends, is a good way to strengthen friendships. Group dating is best for young teens who aren't really ready for the pressures of single dating relationships. A big drawback about dating in your time is that there are far more pressures these days to become sexually active at an early age. It's really not true that everybody does it, but that's hard to remember when the message of popular music and movies and even TV shows goes the other way. Single dating, which really is intended to prepare people for the mature commitment of marriage and family life, is not for most young teens. You don't have the maturity at 12 or 13 or 14 to juggle your hormones and your good sense. Right for you. How you grow into relationships with the opposite sex will depend a lot on who you are. Respect your family's wisdom and advice. Work on developing strong, healthy friendships with many different people. And don't let anyone pressure you into relationships you are not ready for. Skills to grow by. Funny as it sounds, a good sense of humor is one of the most important dating skills. This doesn't mean that relationships aren't serious, but people who don't take themselves too seriously and who can be understanding about other people's goofs and imperfections are very attractive. Everybody makes mistakes. Learning to laugh with, not at, another person is a great way to keep your life in balance.
Now, after today's lesson, I would like you to think about the following questions. The video showed what dating was like back in the day. Do you think it is applicable now? Bearing in mind that we are now in a technological age where social media like Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp, etc., make it easier for you to communicate more readily and can take away some of the pressure of face-to-face interactions, particularly if you are shy or unsure of what to say in these instances. You may have also heard of dating apps. Do you think that these are appropriate for children your age? You have a lot to think about. So what I would suggest is that you go back and read the Learning to Love Together, the dating game. And then I would like you to answer the following questions. And as well as to complete the activity. If you can have a discussion with your parents to get their perspective when answering the questions. Next week we will look at dating rules. So in your free time, think about some rules. Until next time, goodbye.